Tuesday night, welcome to the Krueger Show, brought to you by Pig and a Pickle. Raj is in the house. Moves are being made. The Niners have made moves. What moves should they make with the trade deadline just 2 weeks away? We discuss it all next on the Krueger Show. Join us. All right, fire up the band. Raj is in the house. It's Tuesday night on the Krueger Show, brought to you by Pig and a Pickle. The best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week. They're serving brisket. Get some brisket chili. It's amazing. Go to Marin, though. Seriously, get the potato chips, the brisket chili. Tell them that Krug sent you. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. They're great people. We're also tonight brought to you this live stream sponsored by Better, the official daily fantasy sponsor of the Krueger Show. Use Better to make daily fantasy lineups and win real money. That's right, we've done it. Download the app below. Make sure you use the promo code Niners, and you'll get that first deposit matched up to $200. Thanks to Better for being a sponsor of the Krueger Show. All right, Tuesday night, as I said, Raj in the house, our regular spot here. Raj, good to see you. I'm excited for the show tonight. We got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to get to. I just feel a massive stream coming about. I feel the vibe of Ninerdom everywhere. I feel like this is going to be a big stream.
I think so. I think you're right. It was a great day. A lot of news to talk about. As you mentioned earlier, the trade deadline's coming up, and the 49ers, fresh off a victory last week against the Seahawks, and they sit on top of the NFC West in first place. So good stuff.
And your 49ers making moves on this Tuesday, and let's get right there. We'll start right with that. What the first one is the Niners, what I thought was going to be the most compelling Niner news of the day. They signed Anders Carlson, the place kicker, formerly, or the brother of Daniel Carlson of the Raiders. Anders is 26, and he is 27 for 33 career. So 81.8%, 34 of 39 on PATs, which is kind of not that great because you miss 5 PATs. It's a lot of PATs to miss. Yeah. But I went through his thing. He was 6 of 6 from 20 to 29. Those are gimmies. He was 14 of 14 on 30 to 39. Once again, gimmies. Where you cut your teeth in the NFL is 40 yards and deeper. From 40 to 49, he was 4 of 8. So then he drops to 50%. So, and then from 50 plus, then he's 3 of 5. So then you could argue maybe small sample size. But Jake Moody's got the ankle. Matthew Wright's got the shoulder. Man, our kickers can hit, but now they're both hurt. And Anders Carlson's on the practice squad. What do you think right there? We'll start there with the exciting news of the new kicker. Will Carlson be kicking against the Chiefs on Sunday in your mind?
I hope not. I woke up this morning. That was the first big news of the day. Anders Carlson, former Packers fans were laughing. They said, what are you guys doing signing all this Packers? The Niners got Devondre Campbell, as we know. They got Patrick Taylor. Now they got the kicker. We'll talk about another guy they got from the Packers later. But I don't know. I like Matthew Wright. I thought he played good. Hopefully his shoulder's okay enough for him to play. I mean, you don't need a shoulder to kick, but he's a rocket scientist. Fun fact. I'm sure you found that out this week. We found that news out this week. But in all seriousness, Matthew Wright was actually pretty dang good the other day, other than that tackle, he made. These kickers got to stop trying to take these tackles. They're not all Mitch Wishnowsky, Larry. They can't go out there. He was a rugby player, so they can't be making these tackles. But I hope we don't have to have this third kicker. It's kind of crazy. We're at week 7, Larry, and we have 3 kickers on the roster. It's crazy to me, man.
Let's talk about this for a second, though, Raj, because I kind of agree with you and I kind of disagree. I agree that, hey, man, you picked this guy off the street. He was sitting at home in Tampa saying, man, the storm's coming. Let's get out of here. Hey, the Niners are calling. They wanted me to try out on the West Coast. Let's do it. He went from that to, 3 for 3 field goals in a big game. So in that way, he was a success. But the way the NFL is now with this kickoff rule,
Yeah.
You want a kicker that can kick the ball through the back of the end zone and put them on the 35. Otherwise, you got this weirdo return. The guys haven't really faced that many of them because most people kick it through the back of the end zone. So now it's like you have your coverage unit playing defense on a play that they've only played a handful of times.
Yeah.
And so to me, it seems like highly likely that somebody would bust one. And we've already seen one busted. In some ways, I kind of think like kicking it through the back of the end zone is not just that's like bonus or gravy. That's like part of the turkey dinner, It's like part of the meat. I gotta have my kicker's got to be able to kick it through the back of the end zone. Otherwise, I feel like I'm at a competitive disadvantage. I mean, a significant competitive disadvantage.
I agree with that. That was one flaw that I found last week in Matthew. Right, was his kickoffs were not booming. You're right, and a lot of fans probably in the comments. I remember last week saying, "Oh man, this guy can't kick a touchback to save his life." You're right on that. That's part of the game. Field position matters. Obviously, with the 49ers, they've had some special teams blunders. So the guy can make the field goals that you want and the extra points, but he can't kick the touchback. So it's kind of a catch-22. But then this other guy, Anders, he might be able to make the kickoffs, right, and touchbacks. But is he good enough to make field goals? I don't know. It seems like a liability either way. I'd rather take the guy that's going to give you the 3 points here and there. You just pray and hope that nobody returns on you. This new kicker rule is crazy. I just hope Moody comes back. But then when he comes back, Larry, the whole ankle on his kicking leg, it's not good for a kicker. So at the end of the day, this kicker situation is kind of murky to me as a 49er fan.
Oh, it's very murky. It's very murky. Anders Carlson, I mean, I think the Raiders kicker, Daniel Carlson is his name. I think he's a pretty good kicker. But Anders missed against the Niners in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
So, then you got to wonder about the pressure. Can he handle the pressure? We'll see. But I mean, this is where they're at right now because they're just been a mess on special teams. I mean, Schneider's got to be just absolutely not sleeping right now because, I mean, his special teams unit's finding a way to give it up at just such a record clip. They're at 30. I mean, I saw the DVOA. They were like 4 on O and 5 on D, or 4 on O and 7 on D, and 31st on special teams. I mean, my gosh, 31st. I mean, that's bad. And I hate to pour, on a guy when he's down because it's like, everybody else is saying, oh, fire Schneider. I don't know. I would say you stick with Schneider, but get it going, and just make the decisions personnel wise to get it going. And I think they did. That leads me into my next point, which is the other move of the day, Raj, is that the Niners picked up, you kind of already teased it, another former Packer and former Bear, Adrian Amos, the safety, the veteran safety, 31. He goes on the practice squad. He's 6 feet, 218 pounds, Bears 5th-round pick in 2015. He ran 4.56 at the combine, but then at his pro day, he ran sub 4.4. So he was very fast coming out. Really smart, high IQ player, can cover, scheme versatile, really good range, good in press coverage, slot corner experience, excellent zone corner. And this was back coming out. Now, that was what he was coming out of Penn State. He began his career at Penn State at quarterback. And then, he went to Green Bay in 2019. And he had 7 picks in 4 years in Green Bay. And then he basically got moved out of Chicago or off of his spot at free safety by Eddie Jackson. The Bears drafted Eddie Jackson, and the two of them played side by side in Chicago there for a few years. So the guy's got 13 career picks, which is kind of a lot. He's played free safety. He's played strong safety. He's got cover experience. With Green Bay, they had Savage, Darnell Savage in the free safety spot. He covered the field. This guy played in the box. But I think this guy can cover downfield. But he did get beaten for 12 touchdowns in between the 2021 and 2022 seasons. But 2023, he played 361 snaps with the Jets and the Texans. The guy has ball skills, 13 career interceptions. He's a big hitter, very physical. But what I was going to say is 14 career tackles on special teams coverage units. So this is a guy that they potentially not only can have as a backup safety or maybe even a safety that can play from scrimmage, but also this is a guy that can help your coverage unit. And I think just by looking at them, they need help. They need a couple guys on the coverage unit that show up to hit somebody, not just guys who are getting a workout, watching guys run by. I mean, their coverage unit has looked really bad. Even you go back and watch that film again, there's the one they busted, but earlier in the game, Chenault almost busted another one. Early in the game, he got a great return. And that just kind of teased what was to come. So, and Chenault's not a burner. So they just got to get a whole lot better on special teams.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. This move is twofold. I mean, I think a lot of people are thinking maybe he could have a resurgence like Tashawn Gibson, because, Gibson, when the Niners signed him, kind of bumped around the league. He was up and down. His best days, everybody thought were behind him. And then he came to the Niners and he was a great coverage safety. The 49ers have been missing good coverage in the safety department. We've talked about it many weeks now. Hufanga now on IR. Malik Mustafa, great, game last week, his first career interception. Him and Renardo, the rookies, getting the interceptions, but he's dealing with the ankle issue. I'm sure he'll play, but you need depth at this point. Jair Brown hasn't really looked that the part of that breakout player just yet, and his coverage skills are a little lacking. So honestly, the 49ers needed a guy that could possibly come in and help in coverage. I know Odom's a special teamer. When they throw him in at coverage, it's not good. So they needed a guy that can do that and special teams. Maybe he can make a big special teams impact, because whatever is happening right now, special teams has not been good. So I like the Amos signing. I'm not going to sit here and say he's like, oh my God, what an elite signing, all, end all be all. That just solved the problems to the Niners safety issues. It's not that, but they needed depth. And he's a veteran. He's been in the league for a while. Like you said, 31. When the Niners brought in Tashawn Gibson, he was 31. So they needed a guy that's a veteran savvy to help mentor these younger safeties, because their safeties are very young, Larry, and they needed a guy like Gibson.
Well, everybody's hurt. I mean, that's the other thing too. I mean, Mustafa's got an ankle, and Hafanga's got the wrist. Odom's more of a special teamer. Jalen Mahoney's a nice prospect, but he's on practice squad and he's kind of raw. And I don't think they want to ask him this early in the year. And then you got Jair, who's probably the one healthy guy, but I'm sure he's nicked up a little bit. So yeah, they're running out of guys there, who are healthy bodies now. And it's a violent position, and it's a very physical position. So you got to have some depth at that spot. And so Amos comes in. For just getting him off the street, I really like that. There's some other guys. I did a video today on the 10 or 11 guys that I think they ought to go for. But before I give you those names, Raj, what do you think? Should the Niners trade for Hassan Reddick? There's a lot of talk coming out of New York now that, the Jets paid a third-round pick for Reddick. He got rid of his agent. Now he's got Drew Rosenhaus. Mm-hmm. The good news, that's good news for the Niners. Why? Because the Niners just did a deal with Drew Rosenhaus for Jawan Jennings. Mm-hmm. So they've got a good relationship with Rosenhaus. They might be able to get a deal done with Rosenhaus. It would probably take an extension, but I think you could probably get him for a fifth-round pick. So Hassan Reddick for a fifth-round pick, if you could make the money work. I mean, to me, I like I don't want to change out all the DBs, but you got to help the DBs out because, you're really young back there. So how do you help a DB out? Well, you can either go get veterans to play in front of them and let them watch, or you can get more pass rush up front, and Reddick kind of represents that. What do you think?
Yeah, go get Hassan Reddick. I've been screaming, go help this D-line. You've lost some players in the trenches. Hargrave, one of them, right? Bosa's out there doing everything he can. Doesn't have that help, Leonard Floyd out there, he's not really lived up to his expectations just yet, but he's out there working hard. Other than Floyd and Bosa, man, there's just no pass rush. And I think if they were to get a little bit better in the pass rush department, you're right, it would help their secondary, take some pressure off them. Now, I think if Reddick came in, it would take him a little time to kind of get going, because you want to talk about players being rusty. We saw Brandon Ayuk, right? Prime example, didn't go to training camp. Hassan Reddick, he hasn't played a game in the whole season. He's held out. So the only I'd err on caution with Reddick. I mean, he's a great name brand guy. Oh my God, it would probably be a splash move, but he hasn't played this season. So you got to temper your expectations. I don't expect him to come in one day and just go crazy, 2 sacks off his first game. but I wouldn't hate it. We need some depth. I think Hargrave could talk him into it. Former Eagle. I know there's the beef there, the rivalry, but I think he would put away you know, his hatred or whatever, the beef for some money, for a team that could give him a chance to win. I would like Reddick, but again, I would temper my expectations. There's some other names out there that I would like to see the Niners get ahead of Reddick, but I don't think money wise it would make sense.
Yeah, it's interesting because the Niners do have $54 million in cap room right now. So they've cleared out plenty, but we all know why. That's
Brock.
earmarked for Brock. A lot of that money is earmarked for Brock. So they have money to spend in flexibility, but it's not money that they want to spend. They have that money, already kind of, as I said, allocated out already. But this year takes priority over future years. You got, especially when, you got so many guys in the twilight, like Trent Williams and, guys who are not so many, but you got a couple of your key guys are in the twilight. I think you get more of a go for it mode. Hassan Reddick, interestingly enough, when you look at him, I didn't love him at first because I thought, undersized pass rusher and, does he fit the wide nine and this and that? But man, if you really look at the numbers, 11 sacks last year, double-digit sacks in 4 straight years. I mean, if there's a lot of guys walking around the league with 7.5, 8 sacks. There aren't that many guys who have gone. How many guys do you think in the league have 4 straight years, the last 4 straight years with double-digit sacks? It's not a long list. He's 30. He is owed $10 million this year, so it's not like it's not going to cost you nothing. But you'd probably have to do some kind of an extension though, and you could probably spread that money out. You'd have to make a 2 or 3 year commitment to Reddick. It's interesting. You say you like other names. I'll just quickly list my top 10 trade targets that I did in a video. And this is not in any order. These are just 10 guys the order means nothing. I just wrote them down in this order. Azeez Ojulari, New York Giants.
Yes.
He's played less than 40% of the snaps there. And he was really good in college at Georgia. He's explosive. And he to me, he's about to play his best football. I don't think he's played his best ball yet, but I think in the Niners attacking scheme opposite Bosa, that guy could be electric.
Oh my God.
So I love that guy.
Ojulari, I was such a fan of his coming out of college. I wanted the Niners to draft him. They had a chance. Obviously, they didn't take him, but man, if the Niners could get this guy, you're right. He hasn't even hit his peak. No, this weekend, I watched him play. I mean, the Bengals O-line is terrible, but Ojulari was literally in the backfield almost every. This guy is so explosive. Holy smokes! If the Niners could get him, woo!
All I'll say is I watched that game too, and if he ran into Burrow and didn't sack him because he didn't want to hurt him because he didn't want to draw the penalty. Did you see that? I mean, it's like, gosh, that's where we're at as of now. Defensive ends running into the quarterback still don't sack the quarterback because they're afraid to fall on him, throw him down, do anything violent to him at all. So it's like almost like we're playing tag on the quarterback.
Yeah. If the Niners don't get him, Larry, I think the Lions might go and try to make a run because they need a defensive end after Hutch, his ugly injury, brutal, so they're going to get somebody.
I'll give you a couple other names that are really intriguing to me.
Yeah.
Defensive ends. We'll start there. Von Miller. Von Miller suspended until through week 8, I believe. But this guy's a Hall of Fame pass rusher. This guy's a difference maker on key downs. I know he's old, but the price would be cheap. And Von Miller, Von Miller can still do it. I mean, he's in Buffalo now, so maybe they don't want to move him. But if they would move, and so he's the one guy in this list I've seen rumored that he's available, but I can't really believe it because why would Buffalo trade a guy like this at this point? It makes no sense if they're in the Super Bowl hunt, and they are. So, I don't get that. Why? To me, he might not be available. But if he were available, he's so veteran and so proven, I would absolutely. Guy's got rings, man.
I know, but Sean Turner said Von Miller is 71. He's close to that age. I don't want Von Miller. Come on, man.
Yeah, seriously, he's an older guy. I mean, this is your grandfather's pick. Okay. All right. Trey Hendrickson of the Bengals. He asked to be dealt at the beginning of the year. They said no. If they they're pretty much right on the edge the way they're playing. They're just not playing very well.
Yeah.
This guy, another guy, Cincinnati. I don't know why they would move him, but I think he's a free agent at the end of the year. He is an interesting name, and he definitely is a big time. That's the guy that I think Detroit is probably going to go after. Is Trey Hendrickson. I could see Campbell saying, "Oh, Hendrickson will be the perfect replacement for Hutchinson, and we'll plug him in, and next year we'll have the tag team, and everything will be great."
Yeah,
I think that's what they're going to try to do.
I like.
So those are the defensive ends: Reddick, Von Miller, Azeez Ojulari, Trey Hendrickson. But to me, the other guys on my list, I have Greg Newsome, the corner. There's a lot of people speculating that Mooney Ward might be traded. And that's kind of an interesting one to me, because why would you trade Mooney Ward? But then you look at the Niners' money situation. They know they're going to pay Brock. They're going to have to just say goodbye to 3 or 4 key guys. He's one of them.
Yeah.
And they're going to go at the beginning of the year. It was always, hey, they're going to go with him or Lenore, and it's going to be Lenore. So, and it should be Lenore. So that's the way it's going to go. And he's going to leave at the end of the year. So I don't know what their plan is, but that's going to be interesting to see why the Niners kicking tires on Newsome. That makes no sense. But, other than what you've got all these other young corners, you're just going to tell them keep waiting, I guess. I mean, the Niners already made a mistake this summer getting rid of Samuel Womack. Womack's in Indy playing great ball, and they drafted him. They developed him. He, or didn't develop him and let him leave to, it's just, I don't know. I think they got a little too veteran. They could have saved the money they gave on Yadam and just kept Womack and been better off. I mean, yes, it's 2020 hindsight, but I said it at the time, so I can stand up and say that again.
Yeah, I agree.
DJ Jones, I have on the list from Denver. Ooh. Just if they want an interior guy. But I'll tell you, the way Evan Anderson is playing, they may not need an interior guy. We'll talk more about Anderson, but Evan Anderson is balling right now. And I like what I'm seeing from the young kid. But, I mean, if you had DJ, I'd love DJ. DJ is one of my favorite Niners of all time. He's just a terrific person.
Fun guy.
I'd have him on the show all the time. He's just we talk barbecue sauce. So he makes his own. We talk family. He's from Greenville, South Carolina. And just a great guy. Just one of the best guys I've ever met.
But Denver's doing pretty good. They got a good defense out there. I don't know if they want to get rid of him.
Well, that's why. I mean, he's one of the reasons.
He's one of their, that's what I'm saying. He's good.
Here's a name that I really like. And I really like this player, and I really like this fit. I can't watch too much more of Devondre Campbell.
Oh.
And they obviously don't feel that Winters and Graham and Bethune can do it. But guess what? After their misevaluation of Womack, I don't know that I trust their evaluation of those guys, to be completely honest. I don't know if I trust their evaluation.
Agree.
They didn't get it right with Womack. Last year, they didn't get it right with Jameson. So it's one thing to, you could have all the greatest scouts in the world and all the greatest personnel people in the world, and they can locate all these awesome players, and you can draft those players. But if you don't play them, develop them, and keep them at the cut down, then, Womack's probably the best defensive back that went through waivers at the cut down was Samuel Womack III. They should have found a way to keep him.
I agree. That
was a bad one. But the guy that I can't watch anymore is Campbell. No. So Devin Lloyd from the Jaguars, the linebacker, former first-round pick in 2022 out of Utah. Last year, he had a 90.3 PFF run defense grade, which is a really high number. I like this guy. He's a 3-down linebacker. He's instinctive and fast and tough. I just think Jacksonville is a mess. You put him next to Warner, you let Greenlaw heal at his own pace. And, this whole expecting Dre Greenlaw to come out of being in, rehab situation. I mean, basically, he's rehabbing his Achilles and just be like, hey, now you're going to lead us. I mean, that might be a tall ask. That's all.
It's a lot of pressure on him. No, and I can't wait for Greenlaw to come back, but you don't want to just throw them into the fire. You want to kind of ease them in. I agree. They definitely need some better linebackers out there. I hope Winters and Graham can get some more opportunities. I think they're better than Campbell. Let's let them at least get a few options here and a few snaps here and there. But man, Devondre, I don't know if I could watch much more of Devondre Campbell, Larry. I'm a little afraid this weekend. Travis Kelsey is going to be lined up against Campbell because they're not going to throw Kelsey on Fred Warner this weekend. This man is going to make Campbell's life a living hell. We need to get another linebacker. I would love to get somebody with some speed on that linebacking crew.
Yes, I agree. And Lloyd would be it. I mean, Lloyd would be a fantastic option. Speaking of speed, number 8 on my list is Tutu Atwell. If the Rams are really out of it, and the Rams are out of it, they're going to be moving some guys. There was a lot of talk they were going to move this guy at the cut down. This is, as we've witnessed, this is one of the NFL's best vertical threats. He's got legit 4.2 speed. Yeah, we crushed the Niners for giving up the 50-yard bomb to Atwell. But I'm over here as a personnel guy going, you know what? That's the Tutu Atwell that I saw in college. I mean, this guy is a blur. He is so fast. He is so much faster than everybody else. That's what the Niners really need. They need some space. If you gave them a home run hitter like this guy, I mean, they're trying for it, right? You've got Cowing. You tried it with Danny Gray. They're trying to find this vertical element that they can introduce, right? But they just can't get the right guy. If I were the Niners, I'd call up the Rams and say, "Hey, look, we'll give you Cowing. You guys can develop them, and we'll take Tutu Atwell right now."
And then next year he's gonna burn us, Larry. Come on, man.
Well, that's fine. Maybe you don't. If you really feel Cowing's that great, then trade a pick. But I'm saying Tutu Atwell is what the Niners need. People talk about Devontae Adams. The Niners don't need Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams is a redundant part on this team. They've got Ayuk. They've got Debo. They've got, JJ. They've got guys who can run intermediate routes. What they don't have is that burner. They don't have, the guy that they can scheme it up for and go up top. And Brock's got an accurate deep ball. Mm-hmm. So if you could, if you got a guy like Atwell, he'd connect. He would connect with this guy. Now, he's not going to throw it 75 yards down the field. He's not Joe Milton suddenly, but he can go deep to Atwell. And to me, that would give the Niners offense an element that they don't have right now. And it would change. It's a game-changing type move, even though people think of him as just a marginal role player. So anyway, that's one. Walker Little, the Stanford tackle who's in Jacksonville. Jacksonville's going to blow it up. Yeah. He's their third tackle. Emmanuel Forbes, if the Niners really are looking for corners, a lot of people speculating that they're not going to be able to pay Mooney, and they may be looking around at corners. Emmanuel Forbes is not playing. Peters did not draft him. And, Peters is rumored to like Ambry Thomas. How about an Ambry Thomas, Emmanuel Forbes swap?
Oh, make it happen, Larry. Let's go.
I'll take Forbes. He's really skinny, but he's a guy, unbelievable ball skills. I like watching Mississippi State. This guy had 6 pick sixes. Wow. 6. Anyway, and then last one, Darnell Savage.
Okay.
Darnell Savage is in Jacksonville, and he's a nickel corner. He's a free safety. He can play strong. I mean, this guy can do it all. He can play every spot in the secondary. He can play boundary corner, nickel corner. He is a tremendous player. I love me some Darnell Savage. I think to me, he's exactly the guy they need.
Yeah. Kyle loves those guys that can do it all. Versatility in the secondary. Jimmy Ward. It's like Jimmy Ward. He did it all. So
how about a Devin Lloyd, Darnell Savage combo?
Oh, that'd be nice. Savage is nice. I do think the Niners could go call Jacksonville and rip off Trent Baalke because they're going to have a fire sale here sooner or later. Go get Josh Allen at defensive the edge rusher. Oh, God. Can you imagine Josh Allen with Nick Bosa? Oh, my God.
You want Trent Baalke to trade you all his good players. I'll tell you, Trent Baalke's going to want a draft pick. A pretty damn high draft pick, too, because the Trent Baalke I know only likes injured players.
Right? He sure does.
Trent Baalke. Oh, my gosh. All right. I'm getting the producer in my ear. All right, let's get to better. Don't screw it up. All right. Welcome to everybody. Welcome to the Krueger Show. This live stream is sponsored by Better, the official daily fantasy sponsor of the Krueger Show. Use Better to make daily fantasy lineups and win real money. And we've done it like 3 or 4 times already, believe it or not. We've done it. We won in the preseason. I think we won in week 2, and we just won last week. So download the app below. Make sure you use the promo code Niners, and you get that first deposit matched up to $200. All right, Raj. Let's take a look at what we're going to do for our lineup this week. Niners, Chiefs. Who do you want to whose stats do you want to check out?
Let's take a look at man, it's gonna be a big game. Let's take a look at Jordan Mason. I don't know, is he gonna play or not? That's the big question.
Well, Jordan Mason was at practice in the blue jersey, don't touch him jersey. I think he's going to give it a go. But
okay.
That would be my guess. He's going to give it a go. But if not, could be the Garendo show. Yeah, which would be very scary.
That'd be scary. So either one of those guys, I don't know if I want to take any over bets on them. So let's go. Let's see what Brock's got. Let's see what Brock's cooking. Number 2,
Brock's
passer in the league.
Brock Safer, 250 yards and 250.5 passing yards, 1.5 passing touchdowns. I like the 1.5 passing touchdowns.
I like the pass touchdowns. I think he can rock 2 touchdowns this weekend.
Yes. The Niners are going to bring their A game. They may not win, but they're not going to just show up and be like, oh, we're going to get trounced. They're going to bring their A game. The Niner offense is cooking. And I think Brock, this is the game where the Niners score in the red zone.
Yeah. Well, they did last week. George Kittle.
Yeah. But I mean, maybe how about more? How about a few times, not just that one time?
They're going to need to. If they're going to want to beat the Chiefs, they're going to need to score in the red zone.
Yes.
No matter what.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at Debo's numbers.
What
do you think? Debo took a beating this week. Do you think he's going to be able to bounce back?
He's one of those. He's like, he'll have a big game and then he'll have a small game, big game. I don't know. I want to see Debo have a big game against the Chiefs. Like, he wants to, but he did a lot last week. I think it's more of a George Kittle game this week, honestly, to me.
That number's a little high, 52.5. That seems a little high. Kittle, 48.5 or 19.5 longest catch.
I think the 48. I could see Kittle getting more than 48.
Okay, let's go there. We'll go there with more than 48 for Kittle. Let's go to Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt, 55.5 yards. That's tough. I don't know.
I think the Niners' run defense has not been great.
I know. I would probably say more on that.
I would probably say that. What about Juwan Jennings? He burned the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. You think Juwan Jennings goes off again?
I think it's time for Juwan to have a few catches. I'm going to say more than 31.5.
I think that's smart.
Yeah. He's going to have 40 yards. 40 yards and a touchdown is what I would say for Juwan.
I like it.
But let's go back to Kareem Hunt. I like him more than 55.5. They're going to lean on him. The Niners just have never been able to defend him. I don't know why. He had a big day in Cleveland, right? Against us.
Yeah.
So that's a bad one. So let's see. Let's take a look at what we got. Should we go 10? We'll bet 10.
Bet 10.
We'll bet 10. We've got Purdy more than 1.5 passing touchdowns. Kittle more than 48.5 receiving yards. JJ more than 31.5 receiving yards. And Kareem Hunt more than 50. Is that 56? 55.5 rushing yards.
I think he'll get maybe at least 70 against us. Run defense hasn't been as bad as it was last year, but it's still not the best. They still let people run on them. Actually, when Hargrave was on this team this year, they were having a little bit harder time stuffing the run. I think you mentioned a guy, Evan Anderson. He's been quite well in that D-line.
Yeah, always looked really, really good. We'll talk about him in a sec. The live stream sponsored by Better, the official daily fantasy sponsor of the Krug Show. And once again, download the app. Make sure you use the promo code Niners and get that first deposit matched up to $200. Thanks to Better for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. And everybody who signs up is automatically in a drawing to win this. That's right, the Brock Purdy jersey. Doesn't have to be the Brock Purdy jersey. It's just a Niner jersey. And any Niner jersey you want in – not any Niner jersey you want, but any Niner jersey they offer, but it's any number you want and any name you want. So you can go, I'd go 57 Greenlaw. Raj, what would you rock? If I gave you a Niner jersey and you got to pick somebody on the team,
current roster?
Current roster.
Player I don't have yet?
Yeah, so you have a bunch of these.
I got a lot of jerseys. I go get me a Trent Williams jersey. I need a Trent Williams jersey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Surprised you don't have a Trent Williams jersey.
I know.
It's unlike you to not have a Trent. What does the guy got to do to make the great Raj buy a jersey? The guy's only going to freaking Canton.
I know. I need to get his jersey. You're right.
There you go. Thanks to Better for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, let's get into a couple more things here. I got Warriors-Lakers over here. Warriors are up 88-72 on the Lakers. 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
They're cooking this preseason.
NBA preseason action. And Bronny James checking in for the Lakers. Just don't understand that. Frank Gore is in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
But if Frank Gore played at USC last year and was their backup running back who, barely played, odds are that he wouldn't even get an invite to camp. He wouldn't have been invited to the combine. Bronny James, just because his dad is LeBron, he immediately is just given an NBA career. That's pretty amazing. I mean, Frank Gore Jr. was great at Southern Miss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was like an all-star. He was very productive. So it's just kind of weird. To me, it's just weird. I can't think of anything. There's nothing in the NFL that's like that where all of a sudden it's like, hey, yeah.
Yeah, you got to work a little bit harder in the NFL.
This guy's in the league. Why? Oh, because his brother is in the, it's like, what? No, his dad. No, what? You're either good enough or you're not good enough. It's just kind of weird that they made Bronny an NBA player. That's a little, what we call a little aside.
It's a nepotism. He's a nepotism all-star. That's what he is.
I want to call up Raj's Twitter. Oh, one of the things I want to do with you, Raj, that we haven't been doing. You are people, Raj is big on YouTube, but he's just a monster on the IG. And you're one of the biggest content creators there is. And I figured, I'm missing out. Somebody told me you have Raj on every week. I'm like, yeah. He said, you're missing out if you don't ask him every single week, Raj, what was popping this week? What was the video? What was the soundbite? What was whatever of the things that you put out there in the Niner universe? What was popping?
Man, just anything
what
about
were people
Brock
feeling?
Purdy.
What did you get a lot of clicks on this week?
Honestly, most of the biggest clicks this week was probably the rookies, dominating the fact that, players like Renardo Green, Malik Mustafa, Pooney, those guys really stepped. Like I made a post about them. Everybody loved that. And then really anything about Brock Purdy, man, because the media loves to take a dump on Purdy. Like there was a post about Colin Cowherd, right? You saw that last week where I think we talked about it. He said Bo Nix is better. He said, he says Trevor Lawrence is better. Dak Prescott's better. All these guys. And this week we
Baker
posted
Mayfield.
Yeah, all these guys, they're better. And this week we posted that Brock was the number one graded PFF quarterback. And in every post about Brock Purdy went crazy because everybody loves to see Brock proving people like Colin Cowherd wrong. So those are that's the big popping topic is everybody loves Brock and he's proven the media wrong. So that's what's really popping. I mean, everything else was going good too, but I think that was one of the biggest trending topics this week was just, Brock silencing
one of the things that you did put out there, and if we go to Raj's Twitter, and he's a great follow, and when I say I've said that many times about a lot of people that are just marginal follows.
Oh, no.
Raj legitimately is a great follow. And that's why people follow you. But let me share the screen and bring in the great Raj Twitter, because this little soundbite is one that I think is really, really good. And you can only find it at Raj's Twitter, which is RSF49ers. Here's the great kids. Oh, here we go. Let's roll this back. This is Kittle on the Debo show talking about the Chiefs. Listen to this.
It's gonna be an outstanding matchup. They undefeated, I think, still.
Yeah, they're undefeated.
Playing at a high level. Niners playing at a high level.
Yeah.
I think it's a great matchup.
I mean, Mahomes is Mahomes.
Yeah, for sure.
He's amazing. Kelsey just decided to get really hot like the last 2 weeks.
I know, bro. Like,
I know. So, like, I mean,
that's your guy.
Travis is amazing. Yeah, I love Trav. But so they've got that working out. They've got some major injuries on their team too, which is, but they're still finding ways to win. And like that's the hardest thing in the NFL is finding ways to win. Anytime you have Mahomes and Kelsey, though, you're probably going to find a way to win. And then I would also say this is probably the best defense we've gone against this season. Like that's what we've talked about already in our tight end room. And they have a lot of really good playmakers out there. Chris Jones is an absolute monster.
Definitely.
And like can't leave him one-on-one. Like he's going to probably get an Aaron Donald treatment where you just always slide to him, get 4 hands on him 24/7. Yeah, I mean, I can't wait. Like these are the games that you play football for. This is what, hey, it's a game of the week. You got Tom Brady talking about it.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be it's gonna be really fun.
Your team captain had this to say about the matchup this morning.
Fred Warner.
Yep. The Chiefs are undefeated this year and still at the top of their game.
Yep.
They still got 15 back there. I have yet to beat him. I have played against him maybe 4 times now and have yet to beat him. I think it's an important game for us to try and get over that hump and get the win.
I'm definitely with Fred on this. Like I just said,
that's a good quote.
I haven't beat him either. But 15 is a heck of a player. At any moment he's liable to do anything possible. And it's like like I don't like referring back to Super Bowls, but rookie year we up and Pat Mahomes just go do things Pat Mahomes does. And the 2-minute drill in this past Super Bowl is just Pat Mahomes doing Pat Mahomes things. But, you gotta give him his flowers. Man.
Yeah.
You gotta give him to him.
Yeah, when you have 3 Super Bowl wins.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
There's no argument.
No, not an argument.
There's really zero.
There's no argument at all.
Yeah,
not at all.
He's great.
It's gonna be an outstanding matchup.
I think I'm gonna puke.
I know they were just too nice to him.
That was syrupy.
I know they were glazing him. They were glazing him, Larry.
What about the old days when people were like, "We're gonna fuck them up, and we're gonna show up, and we're big, and we're bad, and we're bold, and we're gonna kick some ass and take some names, and that's right." No. Instead, everybody's like, "Hey, he's good. They're really good." I mean, that guy, Trav, buddy.
Buddy.
Everybody's a little too. Everybody loves everybody a little bit too much.
They glazing them. I think the problem is
for my taste. I know I realize I'm a dysfunctional person, but for me, I'd like it if they were a little bit more like just a little bit more like Niners Cowboys from the old days, where it's like we don't like those guys, and they don't like us.
I don't like the Niners.
We don't. Yeah, I don't like the unbelievable, ridiculous, over the top respect. I'm not saying they don't deserve the respect. Let's not confuse that, right? Mahomes deserves all the flowers, as Debo said.
Yeah.
But just a little bit of like, you know what? It's not going down like that anymore. I mean, is there anybody that can kind of put their? It's like it reminds me of that segment. Reminded me of the Niners run D. Like nobody puts their foot in the ground and stops anybody.
Yeah. I think the problem is, Larry, especially nowadays, is social media. Because if they would have said anything negative, it would have got taken away.
Yeah,
it would have been bulletin board material. Like I think, especially Debo, because he does talk a lot. I think he wanted to be a little nice and say, "Oh, we're gonna give them their flowers." And at the end of the day, Niners did lose to them in the Super Bowl. And I feel like if the Niners would have said something nasty, which they should have, I mean, I think they would have been like, "Hey, we want revenge." Da da da. It would have been a bulletin board quote, and then everybody in the media would have said, "Well, they beat you for the Super Bowl ring." So they got to acknowledge it. But it does. I think the word you used, syrupy, was it. It was just like. It was over the top. Like you can say something
sickening.
nice, but it was like it was forced. It was like oh yeah, like it was weird. It was a little weird.
I mean, give your opponent some respect and then put your foot in the ground and say, "But you know what? We're tired of that, and it's not going down that way anymore." Somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, and maybe you don't have to say it. Maybe you just got to go do it. Maybe that's it. Ramel Ramos says, Yo, funny as hell, Larry. We're going to kick your ass. I love it. That is awesome. That is awesome. We got this one from Brilliant Hoops. Can Purdy kick? I was joking with somebody that what if you could get like one of your truly badass athletes to be like the punter? So you'd have like an extra guy on special teams.
Yeah.
Like suddenly it's a short, maybe Robert Beal can't do a 70-yard punt like Wisnowski, but let's say you want to punt and you're at the 50 and you get a guy who's just like a menace. I mean, that guy's 6'5", like 260. Nobody wants to see that guy coming down to make a tackle. He is just a dominating athlete. Could you imagine if that was your punter?
That'd be crazy. Juice can kick. Kyle Juszczyk, throw him at punter.
Yeah, maybe have Juice. He probably want to raise. Tobin Ernst says, we have talented youth. Use it. Get interior D-line. How about get D-line? I'll say this. I love this kid Anderson. I really do. The PFF numbers coming back on him are tremendous. And then when you watch him play, you can see the strength. He's really strong at the point. He's 6'3", 3 1/4. And he came out of FAU. He was an undrafted college free agent. Niners paid $280,000, fully guaranteed his contract to get him to come to San Francisco over other options. So this guy was coveted. 280 guaranteed.
Yeah.
That's a huge sum. That's a big amount of money. So somebody in that building has conviction. Now, I talked to Chris about him, Chris Kasarik about him in the preseason, and I think Chris is the guy. Chris is the guy that loves this kid. Now, I don't know if Chris found him himself or if Chris had somebody else who found him for him. It doesn't really matter to me. Chris has endorsed this kid. This kid's a 49er because Chris wanted him to be a 49er. So week 4, he plays 19 snaps, 2 pressures, a sack, a forced fumble, and 1 run stop. That was his first start. That's pretty damn good. And that was all in 19 snaps. 19 snaps. That's pretty good. And then last week against Seattle, 13 snaps. He had 2 pressures and 2 tackles in 13 snaps. So he's showing to be more than just, a run stuffer in the middle. The guy's got quick. He's got enormous strength, really anchors well. I mean, he carries a lot of weight. You're not moving this guy. And then he's got great upper body strength. So like if you combo block him, he splits it. And then he's got great short area quickness. So he, even though he's not a burner per se by any stretch of the imagination, he is very useful, kind of like a DJ Jones, who had a lot of these same traits: enormous strength, great anchor, and quick feet. And that's what Anderson's got. And have you noticed that the Niner run D has gotten better since Javon Hargrave has left?
Yeah, they have. You got all these underrated guys. And I think Chris Kasarik, he does a good job with these, no-name guys. He makes them have a name. You got Kevin Gibbons, Sam O. You got Anderson, like you mentioned. Guys like that who don't usually get a lot of attention. People don't know them. They're not the headline guys. Malik Collins, I really like him too. Like these guys, they've stepped up their game. And I'm not going to say anything bad about Hargrave. He's a great player, but he just didn't have that speed. I don't feel like he was aggressive enough on that interior line. And everybody else, these guys, I think they're hungry because they don't have a name. They're trying to make a name for themselves. And I think that interior D-line has gotten better over the last couple of weeks, which is crazy. But that's a credit to Chris Kasarik and how good he is on that, D-line as a D-line coach. So, yeah, it's been good.
I mean, I think Hargrave had such amazing movement ability that he would just move all over the place and a lot of times move out of the lane. I mean, you've all heard the phrase stay home or stay at home. It's like there's a lot of times you need your interior guys to, maintain and stay at home. He's such a great mover. Obviously, if you can get penetration, if you can get into the backfield, that's a plus. If you can sack the quarterback, it's a plus. It's not like I'm saying his movement ability is a negative, but there were times where his movement ability was spectacular, but he would take himself right out of the middle of the field, giving the quarterback a significant run lane, and quarterbacks took advantage. So I don't know. We'll see. Anderson's less likely to sack the quarterback, but he's also less likely to get out of his lane. We've got Tobin Ernst as in defensive end. Go into D-line depth. Yeah, there's no question they could use some D-line depth. John Muniz says scale of 1 to 10 Crosby to the Niners. All right. Baldy has come out and said on 95.7 The Game that Crosby is not leaving the Raiders. I'll tell you right now, I don't know a lot, but I know enough about Mark Davis to know that literally the 49ers would have to offer significantly more than every other team was offering for them to send him to the 49ers.
Yeah.
There's a rivalry there. The Raiders do not want to help the 49ers. And that's just the way it is. So you can forget about Crosby. And there's all these people that are like pretty serious people otherwise who are like, yeah, Crosby to the Niners. It's like there's all kinds of things you guys won't entertain or discuss, but then you're going to entertain and discuss Crosby to the Niners? I mean, really? I mean, seriously. I mean, are we serious or are we fooling around? Because if we're fooling around, let's just have some fun. We can just throw out any name. But come on, nobody ever would think that Crosby would come to the Niners. Not that he wouldn't want to, that Mark Davis would ever greenlight that. He would never greenlight that. And Mark is the kind of guy that's just crazy enough to, like, even if the Niners offered a mint, just be like, no, we're not doing it. You know, he cares about that. Maybe that's bad, but that's him. So this Crosby to the Niners, I mean, it's like, you know.
Yeah, I agree. The Niners would have to give an arm and a leg to get Crosby. And even if they gave an arm and a leg, I don't think they'd be the ones to get him. I think they'd ask for, okay, now give us a kidney too. I just don't see it. I think Max, I think he's kind of a guy that wants to stay with the Raiders, as crazy as it sounds. But if he does go somewhere, like I said a name earlier, the Lions, like that's a team I could see Crosby going to. Like they'll give up the house to go replace Hutchinson. Like I could see.
How many number ones?
Maybe 2. 3?
3.
Oh, wow.
It's going to take more than 2 number ones. I think it's going to take 3 number ones.
That's fair.
3 number ones. Now, Detroit, you know, maybe Campbell is, impulsive enough. They're in a rush to turn that thing around. They sense momentum. They do it. How about this? I was looking at the DVOA numbers. The only 2 teams in the NFL who were top 5 in both offensive and defensive DVOA, the 49ers and the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, Lions are good right now, man. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's encouraging for the Niners, too, to be on that list, but it does make you know that the Lions are a complete football team. Boogie 11 says Chris Jones versus Dom Pooney might be one for the ages.
Yeah.
Ooh, I love Dom Pooney, man. I love Dom Pooney. What a great kid he is. By the way, I don't know if you guys saw this today. Dom Pooney is, where is it? I have it in my notes here.
He's number 9.
Dom Pooney is, like the 9th best. What is it? Where is it? 9th best.
He's the 9th ranked.
9th best guard in PFF.
Yeah.
In the entire league.
Wow.
The Niners got this kid in the 3rd round out of Kansas, and he's the 9th highest graded player. Here he is. PFF's 9th highest graded guard in the NFL is Dom Pooney. 3rd round pick out of Kansas. Pretty good.
Stud. We got a gem. We got a gem.
Great kid, too. Oli Chaos has pick up Devin Bush and Mo Hurst from Cleveland. That's interesting. Devin Bush, the linebacker who can run. Is that the guy you're thinking? Is that the undersized linebacker from Michigan? Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah.
And then Mo Hurst. They're both from Michigan, I think, right?
Yeah, go get him.
Niners had Mo Hurst.
They did. I liked him. He was good.
I'll tell you, if I was going to Cleveland, I would probably want Dante Foreman or Pierre Strong, one of those running backs.
Ooh, I like Pierre Strong. If I'm going after Cleveland, I'm going after Myles Garrett. That's not happening.
Seriously, what do you want?
Give him 3 first, yeah.
That's what they would want.
That's
3 number ones. If you're going to really get somebody to move off of a player like that, Myles Garrett and Nick Bosa. The only thing about that is is it too easy with the 3-step drop and the way you get rid of the ball quick to neutralize dominant edge rushers to the point where you could have two of the greatest of their era and still maybe not win because the quarterback or not even get to the quarterback because he just gets rid of it so fast?
I don't know. You neutralize both of those guys. There's no way. Maybe
Seems
one.
like it seems like some ball would get tipped or something.
Yeah.
John Muniz says that segment shows how much we miss Greenlaw. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They do miss Greenlaw. Oh my God, they miss Greenlaw. They miss the Niners defense. You know, I asked you the question earlier. I said, what can the Niners get out of this game on Sunday? To me, the Niners have lost their swagger, and partly because they don't have Greenlaw, and he is a big part of that swagger. Partly because the memory of getting beaten again by Kansas City, and this is a room of guys that thrive on we're the baddest guys in town, and the defense has regressed. They're not the baddest guys in town, and the special teams is an absolute circus, and offensively they're very good, but they're trying to now beat Kansas City, and you know Kansas City's a really good football team. Kansas City's undefeated. Kansas City also is a very complete team from top to bottom. They're not an easy team to beat at all. I mean, you talk about, Mahomes and what they are. I mean, Kansas City has won 4 straight against the Niners. Why are and by the way, the Niners are 9th on offense, 12th on defense. Kansas City's 15th on offense, but 6th on defense.
Wow.
So the best unit on the field on Sunday is going to be the Kansas City defense.
Yeah, they got a great defensive coordinator too. Oh my God.
Spags is a very, very good and Nick Bolton's a tremendous player. He's a all-pro player. Chris Jones, a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Trent McDuffie is an all-pro player. He's no longer in the slot. He's on the boundary now.
Yeah.
But they get great players. I mean, truly great players and some fast ones at that.
A good team, man.
Here's my question. Do you think the Niners can run it on Kansas City? And if Mason can't go, who would you want to see running the ball?
I want Isaac Guerrero. Give the rookie a chance. I mean, I know it's scary to think if Mason can't play. I think he will, like you said, but I don't know if he'll play all the like a bunch of snaps. I think regardless, you're going to see some Isaac Guerrero in there. And I think last week's game really gave him a boost of confidence in his, rest of the way for Guerrero. Kyle kind of talked about that, how it was a good, confidence booster for him and a lot of the players. I think Guerrero is going to have to carry the rock. And I think if the 49ers are going to want to win, they're going to have to run the ball. That's 49er football. So regardless of who's running the down ball there, I think they're going to have to. And I think Guerrero and Mason should be able to be a good 1-2 punch moving forward.
Couple last ones before we call it a night. 3 trades today. Devontae Adams from the Raiders to the Jets, Amari Cooper from the Browns to the Bills, and Cam Akers from the Texans to the Vikings. Who's the winner? Who's the big winner? Who do you think made the best deal today?
Man, there were so many good trades, crazy trades. I think the biggest move, actually, or not the biggest, but the best move, obviously everybody was talking about Adams to the Jets, but I think Amari Cooper to the Bills was the move with the day. Amari Cooper finally has a quarterback thrown to him, and he's done pretty good without a quarterback thrown to him. So, yeah, that was the move.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think you're spot on that one. The Bills getting Amari Cooper, I mean, if you've been watching the Browns are a tire fire, and Deshaun Watson is a mess, and it's going to be really intriguing to see what happens there because, like, you would almost have to trade multiple number 1 picks, almost like an NBA trade, to get somebody to take Deshaun Watson's money. Some of these bad teams in the league may want to consider trying to build that way by taking a chance on him if they think they can rebuild him. He's making an enormous sum of money, and it's the reason that Cleveland's going to have to get rid of a lot of players in the next couple of years because that money's fully guaranteed. So they've wed themselves to Watson. Watson seems to have regressed in the midst of getting this enormous payday. So there you go. I've been distracted here because Harry Johnson has just tweeted, or just not tweeted, but thrown this chat. He says, Raj is looking cute tonight.
Oh, my God.
That's Harry Johnson, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. That is awesome. one thing I have to mention that I just dug up today and I thought, oh my God, this makes me sick, but I got to mention it. The Niners, if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl this year, it will be 3 in a row. Nobody has ever won 3 in a row. The Niners went for 3 in a row in 90 and fell short.
Yeah.
These guys are going for 3 in a row. What's even more sickening about it, Raj, is the Niners had a significant hand in the building of this dynasty. In 2013, the 49ers drafted Vance McDonald, who they liked, right? Tight end out of Rice.
I remember that guy.
Yeah. Unfortunately, 8 picks later, the Chiefs drafted Travis Kelce at the same position,
Yeah, I know.
who might be a little bit better.
A little
So
bit.
that one hurts.
Yeah.
But it doesn't end there. 2016, the 49ers had they traded up. They were at 37 in the draft, and they couldn't wait till day 2. They're like, oh, got to get to the back of round 1. Got to get our guy, Trent Baalke. Got to get our guy.
I gotta get my guy. I gotta trade this pick. I gotta get into the first round. I need me some Joshua Garnett. This kid's gonna be a
God.
special guard. He's smart. Raj, you don't get it. He's smart. This is an athlete. This is a tremendous football player, and he is a tremendous football character. I have great football character. Everybody I know has football character.
Anyway, so that was Trent Baalke. He picked Vance McDonald over Travis Kelce and then traded up for Joshua Garnett from 37 to 28. The Chiefs then took the Niners pick at 37. And at 37, the Chiefs drafted Chris Jones.
Yeah, I know.
Hall of Fame defensive tackle. And then lastly, 2017, we all remember it well. The Niners needed a franchise quarterback. It was the beginning of the Shanahan era. And they took Solomon Thomas, 3rd overall out of Stanford. And Kansas City traded up to number 10 and took Patrick Mahomes out of Texas Tech. And since that point, Mahomes has won 2 MVPs, 4 AFC titles, 3 Super Bowls, 3 Super Bowl MVPs, 6 straight NFC title game appearances, 4 Super Bowl appearances with a 3-1 record. And can you name these guys? He's one of 5 quarterbacks to win 3 or more Super Bowl titles as a starter. Can you name the other 4?
We got Tom Brady, Joe Montana, the starter. Terry Bradshaw, and 3 Super Bowl championships. Is it Troy Aikman?
Troy Aikman. Look at that. Raj did it in about 15 seconds. Woo! And I did not let it be known that I did not give Raj the answer to that trivia question before I threw it to him. He just got it.
Let's go.
All right. Fun fact that I threw to Matt Barrows that I need to throw to you, Raj. Last week, the Niners played the Seahawks in Seattle. Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit were on the broadcast on Amazon Prime. And so I looked up Al Michaels this week because I've been watching that game like a bunch of times trying to get ready for the Chiefs game. And so I've watched a lot of Al Michaels. First of all, I think people are ripping Al Michaels need to get a fucking life. This guy's 80 years old and he's awesome. He's 80. We all should be as good as Al Michaels when we're 80. Yeah. If I'm doing anything at 80, I'll be really, really happy. This guy's terrific.
He's
and
amazing.
For people to be critical of Al Michaels at this point, you are beyond nuts. He is a total and utter broadcasting genius and treasure of the highest order. I've never met him. I don't know him. I've got no connections to him. There's no reason I'm sucking up to him. I do have some affinity for him because truth be told, he was the Giants announcer and I'm a Giants fan, but it was before I was a baseball fan. It was 1974. He did Giants baseball with Lon Simmons. But Al Michaels has been on top of his profession for a long time.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's worked with some amazing people. By the way, he's a big LA Kings fan. He lives in LA. He's worked some of his co-hosts, Raj, Howard Cosell, Hubie Brown, Bob Gibson, John Madden, Lon Simmons, Dennis Miller, Wayne Walker, Bob Euchre, just a few of many. And obviously Miracle on Ice. Do you believe in miracles? Is his most iconic call. But the most amazing stat or most amazing factoid about Al Michaels, he claims that he's never knowingly eaten a vegetable in his entire life.
No. There's no way. There's no way.
That's what he said. It's on his Wikipedia. It's got to be true.
80 years old, and he hasn't knowingly eaten a vegetable.
Never. Not once. You're not at a wedding and all of a sudden there's some, string beans, some carrots. No.
Wow.
You're barbecuing. Somebody says, "Hey, we're gonna go. We're gonna go kebabs, some mushrooms, some onions." No,
that's crazy.
Not once.
That's crazy.
You've never been to Chili's where they have the awesome blossom and they blow a single onion into a incredible hors d'oeuvre? That's a vegetable, an onion. So there you go. Al Michaels, no veggies ever. I thought that I don't know if I can believe that.
I don't know.
And I just don't know if I buy that. Okay. One last one here. And this this is Kittle on Purdy. This is also from
I was doing my other show earlier, so I might have missed it. I haven't seen it.
This is Kittle and Purdy. I think you're going to like this. This is pretty good. Let me share the screen on this one, and you guys can check this out, or you can check it out. All you guys can. Here we go. Bottom of the screen.
I think
Here we go. Same pod, Debo's show, and Kittle's the guest. Now Brock Purdy comes up.
But what do you have to say about people that maybe still aren't bought into your quarterback and Brock Purdy?
Rocky?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we've gotten to the point where a majority of like the talking heads or the majority of people, the actual like analysts who watch football and have played football and understand football, I think they're all on the board of like, yeah, he's a pretty damn good quarterback.
Yeah.
And then you have the people out there who are still hating on him for no reason. I mean, like you look at, it's crazy too, because like I think Brock is he's a victim of the moving of the goalposts, like all the time. Like they're like, oh, well, he doesn't do this, or this, and then when he does all that stuff, it's like, oh, well, it's because of Debo, George, and Ayuk. Well, then he does it. Hey, he like led the league in like his yards downfield, all this stuff, and Debo didn't even play in the game. It's like, well, what are you complaining about now? Oh, he's a check down merchant. I'm pretty sure he's leading the league in air yards. So it's just like,
what dog?
Like what else do you want him to do?
They gonna find something at all times.
And also, like, yeah, I mean, like, hey, has he had a bad game? Sure, quarterbacks have bad games. Like, love Josh Allen. Like, he's had a game where he's had 3 picks before. Like, you don't like roast the guy for that because most of the time he plays at a super high level. So it's just like, all right, sure, he had like I think Brock's had 1 okay game this year, but besides that, he's played elite. So it's
yeah.
Like,
not for sure.
Full transparency. I was one of those people. I fully doubted him last.
I'm out.
No, stop. I swear. No, but last season it was early. I kind of felt like, okay, things are looking good, but this is a healthy team. There's a lot of weapons. Like I was giving more.
What about the season before that when he came in?
Yeah,
as a rookie,
snaps like of anything. And
I think
won like
what I
expected
expected last season,
exactly.
what my take was, which was fully wrong, and I'm live right now admitting that. Was that I thought I would see regression from him. Like I thought he had that really great season and I was like, I don't know if this is going to last. And I mean, he silenced me. He shut me up because every time I watch him play,
Brock.
Yeah,
Brock. Great job, Brock.
You really can't argue with what he does out there. But I have to be honest, I was totally one of those like, I don't know if I'm bought into it just yet.
Are you all the way bought now?
How can you not be?
All right, say less. We good.
I mean,
That's
genuinely.
fine. Yeah,
I've actually
we were about to show you out.
No. I have genuinely taken to my public social media platforms and like apologized.
Round of applause for Liv.
Yeah, listen, I had to tuck my tail and admit defeat on that one.
He's pretty good.
But what do you have?
Good stuff there.
I like it.
Raj, what'd you think?
Yeah, no, I love that. Kittle's great, man. Actually, he's always good with the media. I love Kittle, and he always goes to bat for Brock Purdy, and he's right. I think the biggest thing he said there, which I've been saying, is the media loves to move the goalposts. If he does something, then they go, oh well, what? Oh well, he's got the yak. Oh well, like Kittle said, there was games where Kittle and Debo didn't even play, and he's still making great plays. He's still moving the ball down the field. He's got the most air yards. He's not a check down merchant. Everything the media tries to do that's against him, they always pull these weird stats out, and then he goes and defies those stats, and then they try to figure out, oh, I don't like Brock, so what am I going to do this week? I got to find another goalpost to move, and that's it. That's literally it. If they hate on Brock, they're just haters, plain and simple. So I love what Kittle said in that.
I would just say that every team's different every year. So I mean, well, first of all, on the thing on Brock, I mean, come on. If you don't see that he's damn good, then you probably just don't see, lots of things on a football field that you probably should.
Yeah.
He's really, really good. He's fast. He's faster than you think. I mean, let's just say this. To play quarterback in this era, you need, I think, to have mobility. Why? Because the athletes on defense have never been greater. They've never been faster. They've never been bigger. They've never been more explosive. So if you're trying to get away from those guys, you have to have mobility. You cannot be a pocket passer. Jared Goff's a very good pocket passer, but in any singular down that a defensive coordinator wants to take the ball and just ruin his day, or take the reins and ruin his day, it's just he doesn't have any mobility. If you force him to move, his accuracy goes way, way down. He's not nearly the same guy. If you force him to move consistently, then starts making all kinds of mistakes. He doesn't like to play that way. So that's in the modern game with defenses and athletes the way they are. You have to have mobility. All of the best players at this position now have mobility. There's nobody who's just total. Even Tom Brady, knows, hey, you know what? You can't just be. He had good mobility within the pocket, but even so, I mean, like, there's not a lot of guys like that. Mahomes can move. Allen can really move. Brock Purdy can move. Lamar can move. These guys all can move. Jaden Daniels can move. Michael Penix, when he gets out there, he can move. So that you gotta move. You gotta be able to move. As far as this matchup, and Brock can move, and he's accurate, and he plays on time, and he takes care of the football, and he's got great competitive fire, so he's better in clutch moments, and he shows up for the right reasons to win, and he plays no favorites with his receivers, so he doesn't get into these little pissy fights with guys over the ball and that kind of thing, because he's a true pro, you know what I mean? So he doesn't have a favorite guy or anything. His favorite guy is the guy that's freaking open. And that's an important thing. I don't think people talk about that enough, but how you cultivate your relationships with your wide receivers is a huge part. You just heard Debo and Kittle, two of his receivers, defending him there. So, they know, these guys know who's good. They know who's not good. So that's all that really matters. I mean, the bottom line is they're winning, and he wins. And a lot of people say, oh, winning's not a quarterback stat. I'm not one of those people. I think it is. And I've talked to many, many of the best personnel guys through the years, and they all wanted to know what was his record in college. That's not like, oh, by the way, it's like, that is one of the things they want to know. And that's why a guy like Mahomes, who didn't have a good record in college, probably turned off some people, because it's like, oh, well, we didn't have a good record in college. Like, oh, okay, well, that's not good. That might be one of the reasons that one of the greatest collection of physical talent fell in the draft a little bit, based on the fact that he didn't play well in college. Anyway, what do you think as far as last thought? What do you think as far as a game plan? I look at the Chiefs and say they're 20th in pass D. So this isn't the same team that you played in the Super Bowl. That team had L'Jarius Sneed. This team doesn't. This team's got McDuffie not in the slot, and they've got a different corner in there. Now, he's playing decent, but he's not Sneed. So I would say the Niners, definitely have to come out and show they can throw the ball on Kansas City. And then the Chiefs are mid-pack against, or I should say defensively, they're 5th against the run. So they really do shut down all these runners. And I looked at all the box scores. Like 45 yards is like the most they've given up to like one of the rushers that went against this year. So they really held Kamara down in the last game. I think he had 26 yards.
Yeah.
So can the Niners run the ball? I mean, that's going to be a big thing. I mean, that to me is huge. And then for the 49ers, to me, it's always about turnovers. It seems like, I mean, they were +3 last week. That's why they won.
Yeah.
And they had 8 turnovers in the first 5 games, and that's why they had, some close defeats. So take care of the ball.
Got to get those turnovers, take care of the ball. Don't let Chris Jones beat you on the line like he did last year. That's definitely one of the priorities is trying to figure out how to stop, Chris Jones. And Kittle said it earlier, they're going to give him the Aaron Donald treatment, most likely. Don't turn the ball over. Brock Purdy's got to protect the ball. I'm pretty sure, like you said, Chiefs are going to try to force the Niners to throw and throw on their corners. They got Trent McDuffie's amazing, so they're gonna play that, and they're also going to make sure that Patrick Mahomes plays like Patrick Mahomes, and he's spurring the Niners over the years. You can't, if you're the Niners, you can't give Mahomes opportunities. You can't give him second chances. At the end of the day, don't let Mahomes hang around. The Niners have let teams hang around too much this year. If they let the Chiefs hang around, that's bad news. That's bad news. So they just got to be able to control the ball and not turn the ball over. It's easier said than done. The Chiefs always find a way. They're banged up, but they still got some good players. Kelsey, Xavier Worthy, Patrick Mahomes. It's going to be a battle area. But I think the Niners are going to come out and win this game and give the Chiefs their first loss of the season. But it's going to be tough.
Wow, really?
I do.
You like the Niners to finally conquer the Chiefs?
I don't know why. I've said it all week, and I'm going to stick with it. I got a gut feeling this is going to be the Niners' first victory against Kansas City since 2014. The last time the Niners beat them, it was Alex Smith versus Kaepernick. Harbaugh's last season. Brandon Lloyd was making circus catches. Stevie Johnson got a touchdown. That game was crazy. I was at that game. I used to live in Vegas, and I came down for this game, and they didn't disappoint me. So that's the last time I watched the Chiefs lose to the Niners. It was 2014. Wild times.
Anytime I hear Stevie Johnson, it reminds me that we used to do a post-game show. KMBR for a while had a country station, right?
Yeah.
And they had a DJ, and one of the stations in the family was a country station, and they wanted this DJ to be on the pregame show with us. And I was like, what? Really? We're going to have this guy on the pregame show? And he's like, he's a nice guy. Anyway, he went by Mac Daniels. And I said, is that your name? He's like, oh, no, that's not my name. Of course it's not his name. It's just, it's a radio name. Anyway, he said, Stevie Johnson made a touchdown, and it was time for him to talk in the postgame. And he's like, I'm so proud of Stevie Johnson. I'm just so proud. And just like we all started laughing because, just the idea that, that any of us in major market, would be so, so proud. I mean, it's like, what you're proud of your kid for doing well in the spelling bee. You're not proud of Stevie Johnson, but we gave him so much grief about that.
Funny.
Oh my God. We played that soundbite over and over and over.
Oh my God. That's funny.
49er throwback says Donald Trump is a Brock Purdy fan.
Did you see that?
I did see that video. He went on Bussin' with the Boys on Barstool and started talking up Brock Purdy. It's like, he's Mr. Irrelevant. He's not irrelevant anymore.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good trap.
That's, anyway, hey, that's going to do it for us. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krueger Show. Thanks to Better. They're fantastic. And download the app below. Make sure you use that promo code Niners to get your first deposit matched up to $200. Use Better to make daily fantasy lineups and win real money. We have done it. Raj, have a great night. I'm going to go Niners 21-17. They keep the Chiefs offense down in this game.
No, you got them winning too, huh? Okay.
21-17 Niners.
Okay. Very good.
I've got to have the belief. I got to have the belief.
Well,
I can't pick against the Niners. I'm not at that point. This isn't the Chip Kelly era.
No. The Niners are going to win this. I got it 24-20 Niners.
The swagger shall return Sunday at Levi's.
Get
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what